Hi everybody. I wanted to record this video because I came across a kind of workflow while I was working on an application of the day that I think highlights some of the benefits that I've been finding from including unit testing. So this is a VI that I've written a while ago as part of a project, and basically all this does is it takes a file list that we've already fetched from a web dev server. It's going to identify which of those files are TDMS files, and then it's going to download those TDMS files, and we've got some integrity checks built in there as well. What I found is I got some errors off the server suggesting this wasn't only downloading TDMS files, it was also downloading TDMS index files, which I dare say some of you looking at this will already be able to tell why. But regardless, say there's a bug, and we can be pretty confident it's something to do with this section that's deciding what a TDMS file is. So my kind of test-driven development mentality to this says the first thing I need to do is create a test that fails and highlights the bug. So this is pretty hard here because this is just embedded in a bigger VI. Really what this shows is my modularity could be better. And so what I need to do to be able to test this in isolation of everything else is create a sub-VI out of that. So you have to bear with me flicking between screens so I can keep most of the project code hidden. So I'm just going to clean that up and give this a name. I'm going to call it is TDMS. And interestingly, when you look at this piece of code in isolation as a sub-VI, you realize that the API could be better. We're just using a case structure here based on offset pass match, which we kind of know with a lot of these functions is a valid way of checking whether something's been found or not. But from a readability point of view, it doesn't really help. So I'm going to use this to clean up the API. As well. Great, so now I have an isolated VI. I can run this on its own to see how it works. And I can straight away see the bug if I give it an index file name, it still responds with a true. So this actually came up at the CLA Summit. Steve Watts called this runnable code, I believe. I would call it testable code. You've got a nice isolated piece of logic that you can push some known inputs to and see some outputs. And we could stop there, but already you can see that using a testing mentality, I've actually improved, if I make this last fix here, the readability and the modularity of my overall application. So where does the unit test framework come into this? Well, this is where my philosophy has been. If I'm going to do this basic testing, I might as well make it automatic, make it recorded, so that when I come back to this in a few months' time, I can see what I was trying to do, what use cases I had been expecting. So I'm just going to save this file off. And at this point, I'm going to create a unit test for this application in my project. And sorry, I just have the project hidden away to kind of hide the rest of the code. But all I've done is done a right click on the VI and a new unit test. So this is why I love the unit test framework in LabVIEW, because I can do one of two things. I can set up my test cases here and see what's going on. So I can do test case is TDMS file, set my input, and actually it's already pulled my input from here. We're going to ignore the index bit for now. See that that's true. Run that. And we can see it run here. We can debug the code here, as long as being alongside. And then it's kind of already revealed my other thing I like about this is actually I can reverse that process. I can set up my LabVIEW VI, and I can import those values directly into the unit test framework. But in this case, I want this test to fail. So actually, this should be a false case. And again, I can run it. I can see that fail and why that's failed. So now I have a recording that says this VI, I've decided this is how the input should look and what response I expect. So this actually adds a level of documentation as well to our code. I'll fix the bug now, which for those of you that don't do a lot of regex is basically the problem is that I haven't said this has to be at the end of the input string. So if I add the $sign there, TDMS index, this should now pass my test. And that's it. My bug is fixed. My code readability has gone up. And I have a record of the tests and can repeat those tests very quickly in the future if I have any concerns or want to change anything there. I can see other cases and how they should work. So I hope that's useful. I just thought it was an interesting thing to share, and I hope you like it.